Hello friends. So in this particular section, we are going to study about manage and control stakeholders. So we have already started with initiating a project. So we studied with initiating a project that a project charter is created where we define all our stakeholders names, their designations, the sponsor names, each and everything. Then we moved on to identification of the stakeholders where we discussed that we need to identify the stakeholders with the help of meetings, discussions, project charter and different documents which we have in hand. Once we have identified stakeholders, we also studied in our previous lectures how to analyze the stakeholders. And the different tools, technologies, and methodologies we have studied is Influence Interest Grid, SEAM, which is a Stakeholder Engagement Assessment Matrix, a Stakeholder Register, and SEAM Extended. So we have covered initiating a project, we have covered identification of the stakeholders, and we have covered also analysis of the stakeholders, where different tools and technologies, right? So now we have reached to a section where we need to manage and control our stakeholders. So how are we going to manage and control stakeholders? If we are able to manage and control our stakeholders successfully and deliver the projects at the same time, we are going to meet the requirements of the stakeholders because the stakeholders are happy and the project is also a success. So let's move on to next area where we are going to discuss about managing and controlling stakeholders. Manage and control stakeholders. So we have divided this into two different parts, although these two, managing and controlling, goes in hand. And communication matrix, communication methodology, communication management is the most important weapon or tool which we used while we are trying to manage and control our stakeholders. So let's try to define what is manage and control. Manage is something which focuses on the process of communicating with the stakeholders and addressing their issues as they occur while you are delivering a project, and keep all your stakeholders satisfied and abreast with the project progress updates, which means we are trying to communicate and engage with our stakeholders at each and every stages and gates of the projects as and when we progress with our projects stages and gates. So we'll keep them abreast with all the updates. How are we going about with the projects, different stages, whatever the requirements we have. So it's a kind of agile methodology we would be approaching, and each and every stages we are going to communicate with the stakeholders in the form of meetings, in the form of issues, in the form of discussions. So we are going to communicate with them closely. We are going to manage the expectations of stakeholders. So say for example we are at a gate 3, stage 3 of the project, and now stage 3 of the project has few or requirements we are able to meet. But if we are able to meet, are we going to get back to the stakeholders and just get them UAT done for that part of the project? Yes. So we'll go back to the stakeholders for that particular stage with the product whatever we have created in the interim, and we'll give them that product, that this is the piece of work which we have done so far, so good, and please test it and confirm if you are happy with this now. If you are happy with this now, then this is the next step we are going to take forward, and we'll get you an update on the next step forward by this and this date, and this is the timeline and the deadline we are going to achieve. So what are we trying to achieve here? We are trying to achieve that we are managing the expectations of stakeholders at each and every stages. We are documenting each aspect of the project in detail and giving them a kind of handy document in the form of mail, in the form of updates. So how are we going to go with all these things which we wanted to have in the terms of communicating with the stakeholders? We'll follow a proper communication management plan. So communication management plan is a document which every project manager or project lead keeps with himself, and he discusses that this is the plan we are going to follow, and in that plan he details all the things. How are we going to manage the change log? How are we going to manage the issue logs? How are we going to manage the change request? So these are the things like change log, issue log, change request we discuss with the stakeholders at each and every stages. So we are going to actively manage the expectations of stakeholders, which will result in better project acceptance. And how are we going to do it? By using changelog. So what does a changelog do? Changelog captures the changes which occurs in a project. The project manager needs to communicate with his stakeholders to reach an agreement on the change request. And what are change requests? Change requests may arrive or may arise as a result of interaction with stakeholders. say for example, you have created a project and you have you have done a piece of the work of a big project, and that piece of work you have given a stakeholders to test, and he comes back saying that this is he wants few more changes, and as per agile methodology, as a result of interaction with the stakeholders, as a result of testing which the stakeholders have done on that piece of the project, will have either corrective actions or the preventive actions, and both for the corrective and preventive actions will go with the change requests. So change requests are each and every change request and each and every changes which have been done in the project are discussed with the stakeholders, which are actually communicated with the stakeholders in detail. And once that change requests are discussed, and as a result of the interaction with the stakeholders, we arrive that yes, this is the CR which we need to raise, and this is the change which we need to go about, and everything is captured in the form of change log. Same also goes with the issue log as well. Say we are building a project, and in the interim, in between, some new issues are identified or some current issues are closed as a result of different activities we are doing on a project. Then those issue logs are also created and managed by the project leaders, and those issue logs, change requests, each and everything are discussed with the stakeholders in the form of communication. And how are we going to communicate it? That we'll study in the next lecture. Next comes control. So manage and control is more or less very similar with a thin line difference. Control is like monitoring overall project stakeholder engagement and adjusting strategies and plans as appropriate. Say for example, a particular stakeholder has is at a uh, is at a supportive engagement level, and we want him to be a leading engagement level. So how are we going to adjust our strategies and plans? So there are different techniques and tools and technologies, and there are different techniques and strategies we maintain and follow. Like we have information management systems which can be used to extract and distribute information to the stakeholders. So as a result of control stakeholder management, even new stakeholders are identified in the interim, and reassessment of current stakeholders is performed, and their status review meetings are also used to exchange and analyze information about stakeholder engagement. And same like we have discussed change log, issue log, and change request, here also change request comes in the form of corrective and preventive actions. So stakeholder management plan and stakeholder register may also be updated as a result of new stakeholders being identified and any new adjustments to the strategies made. So interactions with the stakeholders are very much important, and due to these interactions with the stakeholders, any adjustment in the strategies may be made, and this may give rise to another change requests and change logs in the form of corrective and preventive actions. Thank you.